Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning into the Progressive Parent YouTube channel. This video is just to present an excerpt from Summerstone's excellent video on speaking to children, which you can find the link to, as well as a link to his channel, in the description of this video. This will be the first of two.
Hi, you are watching Freedom Words, an online show dedicated to spreading philosophy and freedom throughout the world. I'm Stephen Summerstone. I'm the host of this darn show, and today I'm going to be talking about how to talk to children. Number 1. Adult is humongous. Child is small. Child is small. Okay, so you might be 2 to 3 times larger than this child. So you need to use your gentle voice. If I use my inside booming voice, that I'm going to scare children. So I try not to use that voice. I try to use my gentle voice. This is a way of showing the child that I understand it's smaller than me. And they really appreciate that. They really like that. Gentleness in general is just a very good thing to practice, keeping in mind that you are humongous and the child is small. So the next thing under this subheading of you are huge, the child is small, is if the kid doesn't know you, you need to use more calm body language. Kids are spanked. Kids are hit on a really massive level. Like 90% of parents in the United States spank their kids. Children are hit often. And this is kind of the big curse of the world. This is the great plague of the world that we're currently facing, we thinkers, I guess is one way to put it. So if you use a sudden hand movement, you might really scare the child. So until you have a rapport built up with the child, or that you have some sort of notoriety with the child's social group, that you're a gentle, kind, soft, non-violent kind of person, you need to practice that empathy for them. Practicing the slower, calmer body language is a really good way to get in good with a kid, to earn the kid's trust. So the whole point of this video is how to talk to children. Scaring a child is never funny. So you're humongous, the child is small. The child is terrified when you scare him. Rah! Boom! You pop out from behind them, you grab their leg when they're not looking. The kid doesn't like that. The kid is scared. Scaring children is not funny. There are these shows that set it up to be really funny. Oh, what a thing to do. Ha 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 ha. It's not funny at all. The child experiences profound fear because you are very large and you're behaving in a way that is menacing to their safety, even momentarily. Playing a prank on a child where the kid can't immediately discern that it's a joke, it's not funny. This whole comedy that is at the expense of children is not cool. It's not cool when you have sympathy for kids and you start to understand, well, this is the way they would feel, and I would probably feel that way too. A kid is a unique person who is growing, is trying to express themselves and fill their needs. So keep that in mind. Child is small. Number 2, this is the second idea that I have developed. Kids ask questions. They ask a lot of questions. Kids ask a lot of questions. So be prepared to answer some questions. If you're going to be around a kid, they're going to ask you questions. Something really sad about my childhood was that I asked a lot of questions, and then my father complained. And he complained that I asked so many questions. So what did I do? I stopped asking him questions, and I stopped learning from him in a very big way. And he kind of took my curiosity in that way. So with that, don't be my father. Don't be the guy that stop asking the friggin' questions. You don't want to treat a kid that way. A kid is naturally curious. A kid is naturally inquisitive. And that's kind of something, a realization about children that has really helped me to interact with them. Number 3, the younger the kid, generally the less inhibited he or she will be in giving affection. This has to do with the next point. Number 4, kids have less culture in them. They are able to be more empirical. So Culture tells you stranger danger. And the simple fact with children is that the more culture they get into them, the more they learn these messages that touching is not safe. So, if you're approaching a kid, a baby, something that I do when I see a baby is I'm delighted. They're so full of life. And I'll just put my finger up into their hand, and they'll kind of grasp my hand and look at me and give that kind of baby smile. And, or I'll kind of touch their cheek because their cheeks are so soft. And that's totally okay. And mothers are usually very, very okay with that. I've yet to meet a mother that's like, oh, don't touch my child. But the older the kids get, so when I approach a 12-year-old, I might give them a pat on the head. Even the girls, sometimes I'll give them a pat on the head or a pat on the back. But I don't give them a big hug. I don't, give them a kiss on the forehead because they're just so delightful. But I can do that with a younger kid. But you also want to be very careful of a parent's expectations when you're showing affection for a child. The younger that they are, the more they will be willing to give you affection. They'll just come and grab your leg and hang on to it for 15 minutes, or they'll rub against your shoulder for 10 minutes as you're like eating your lunch. The older that they are, the more culture they have in them, the less likely that's going to happen. Number 5, honor a kid's preferences. They're just as entitled to preferences as an adult is. Just because they're little doesn't mean that you disregard their preferences. If they don't want to be picked up, they don't want to be picked up. Would you approach your coworker and you're like, "Oh, I'm going to pick you up," and the coworker says, "Don't friggin' pick me up." You pick your coworker up. You're kind of seen as a madman, and you go to jail for that kind of stuff. Don't do that to a kid. Kids have it really bad still in today's society. Kids are totally like second-class citizens in today's society. But what I'm asking for you to have sympathy with children, to see that they have a preference. There's no mystical field that comes out of them when they reach the age of 18. Their preferences at age 11 are just as valid as age 30. Nothing changes there. Just culture. That's it. Number 6, what a kid thinks is cool is actually cool. And so I will say that a child have more imagination and creativity in 5 minutes than an adult experiences in an entire day. Children's minds are on fire. Children are just experiencing everything 1,000 miles a minute. Life holds so much intrigue and mystery and joy and wonderment and curiosity. I don't know if I said that one yet, but a child experiences all this in 5 minutes. Your best, most lucid dream as an adult, or your highest trip on LSD, pales in comparison to what a child with their fresh mind, with their brimming energy, experiences in 5 minutes. So, when I say that what a kid thinks is cool is actually cool, they have a sense of what is aesthetically pleasing. They're able to kind of like see virtue through creative expression. They gravitate toward hypnotic, upbeat, danceable music. They gravitate towards things that are very life-affirming. And so when I think about what's cool for me, or what was a fun way to express myself, I think, well, what would my inner child? Because I'm hip to this idea of what a kid thinks is cool is actually cool. I think, what would my inner child really like right now? And sometimes I'll do something just totally on the fly and completely spontaneous, and it'll turn out to be really cool, and I'll just keep it. I'll keep doing it, and I'll really like it. And kids love it. They see that I'm not like the other adults. And they think it's really cool because it matches their enthusiasm, their wonderment, the way they behold the world in front of them. So this is something that I learned. What a young kid thinks is cool is actually cool. Number 7. When playing, follow the first rule of improv. Within reason, the first rule of improv is to always say yes to the situation. And I really want to say that safety should be maintained when you employ the first rule of improv. There's a really funny moment in The Office with Steve Carell, and he goes to an improv workshop, and he just like imposes his just like completely vain and grandiose personality. He imposes it on the entire improv group and takes everything over, and he breaks the first rule of improv. And he's like doing a hostage situation with this Asian actor that has gone on to become a big deal, played his part really well. And you don't want to do that. You want to do the opposite of that. And that's to say that you want to follow the first rule of improv, to always say yes when playing, when they want to change a situation or they want to play in a different route, pursue a different quest in their game, or just change things up. They'll really love you for that. They'll really like you for that. And you'll really step out of your comfort zone. Safety should be maintained, obviously. But the most fun that I've had with kids, and some of the most uncomfortable times for me, is to engage and play with kids and allow my creativity and my imagination to go where it goes with them. I really, really connect to who I was when I was really young when I do that. It's really hard. It's really hard to hold a toy and to animate it and to give it a personality and to make it go have a relationship or go have an adventure. It's hard to do that. But I've allowed myself to do that by following the first rule of improv and just rolling with it. And now I'm able to have more spontaneity. I'm able to have more creativity. I'm able to have more fun and play and joy thanks to employing this kind of helpful hint, this idea that I have developed from interacting with children, playing with children.